Yo, what's up? We're finally back, and we got another card, UFC 224, which is actually a pay-per-view card, so pretty good slate. So we're just gonna get right into it, and I'm pretty intrigued by this card. There's quite a few fights. It's a pay-per-view in Brazil, so you have to be wary. The judges always have to be looking at, if it's a close decision, maybe you want to lean the way of the Brazilian. But for the first fight of the night, it's Markus Perez against James Bochniak. And I feel I have a very good read on this fight. I feel like Markus Perez is just the much better fighter here. James Bochniak is not UFC caliber in my opinion, but Markus Perez is going to be looking to get a win in front of his home crowd. He's a Brazilian. He's a fun guy to watch. He throws very wild strikes. He'll talk during his fights. Kind of tries to goad you into a war. He's athletic and fast. He's solid lateral footwork. He likes to land shots and not get hit. He does keep his hands low, and due to that, he can't snap off fast shots, a fast jab, fast straight, but he can be countered. And in my opinion, he's better at throwing kicks than punches. He has nice head kicks and body kicks. He'll use crazy attacks such as spinning elbows, spinning back fist, upward elbows. He'll kind of try to look you off, look away, and then throw a punch, try to catch you sleeping. Definitely an opportunistic fighter. He'll hunt for a submission or a KO. And, solid grappler, good takedown defense, decent body lock, and double leg takedowns himself. On top, he looks for a lot of chokes. He has a really nice Peruvian necktie, solid guillotine. Does a good job of using it to defend takedowns, the guillotine. And he actually got Ian Heinisch in a guillotine, who's the current LFA middleweight champion, and a pretty good prospect. He's active off his back with submission attempts. He looks for kimuras, looks for guillotines, and he can be complacent off his back at times, though. He could stay there too long. He got tired against Eric Anderson. Eric Anderson was way too defensive, getting caught up against the fence entirely too much. But he did take the fight on short notice, and I have seen him go 5 rounds versus Paulo Thiago, who's a former UFC veteran. And that's solid cardio, so I'm assuming it was more due to the short notice. He does have heart and a good chin. He won't quit or fold. He took a beating by Eric Anderson, was still trying to win that fight the whole entire time. He has fought some good competition and beaten some decent names, as I said, Paulo Thiago, Ian Heinisch, also beaten former UFC fighter Ildemir Alcantara. Bochniak, he's a tall, long 185er, good kicks, long-range striking, solid body kicks, front kicks. He'll go to the head with the kicks as well. Solid straight right and jab. He likes to try to stay long with his punches, throw long looping hooks, but he isn't very explosive or athletic, and it makes it's very easy to close the distance on him. All you have to do is kind of throw a blitz strike combination, get him to cover up, and then just, get in on his legs, get in on the wrestling. And he has very poor takedown defense, especially against the cage. Gets taken down with ease, really shows, very, very little resistance to the takedowns. Off his back, he's not very good. He's long and active, so in his guard, you have to be careful. But he attacks with very low percentage attacks from bad positions. He'll attack with straight arm bars and kimuras from side control. Just moves that only work in lower level MMA. He gets controlled, lets his opponents get in great positions for ground and pound against him. And from what I've seen, even on the regional scene against lower level guys, he's been losing early in a lot of those fights. And, been having to defend submission attempts, been getting rocked on the feet, and then being able to, come back. But he's just been out harding these guys where he would take the beating for 3 minutes and then they get tired, gas out, basically just give him his back and he gets the rear naked choke. And, prior to his last fight, all of his fights have never been out of round 1, and he was noticeably tired going into round 2 of that fight and got knocked out really badly. He had to be taken out on a stretcher. And this will be Bochniak's first fight out of the U.S., and 7 out of Bochniak's 8 fights have been in Wisconsin, in his hometown. So, this is a big step up for a guy who, 90% of his career, or a large percent of his career, has been, just regional level fights. And Perez should be the way better athlete here, much better wrestling, ground technique. I think he should dominate this fight, just get a rear naked choke late in round 1 after an early takedown. I think he's going to be able to get some good control, some good ground and pound. I think Bochniak's going to be going for those same lower level submissions and let Perez get to that full mount. Going to end up giving him his back, and he's going to get that submission in. And I think Perez will want to close the distance, take the fight to the ground in this fight. while I believe he could do it fairly well in striking against Bosniak, I don't think that's the best game plan that gives Bosniak the best chance to win. He does have, some decent TKO finishes, but I just don't see a very large path to victory here for him. So I'm going to go with Markus Perez, and that's going to be one of my most confident picks of the night right there, Markus Perez. And, like I said, I just don't think James Bosniak is UFC level, and I don't think he's going to be sticking around here. And up next, there's Alberto Mina against Ramazan Emeev. And Alberto Mina is undefeated, 3-0 in the UFC, but not very active. He hasn't fought since 2016, and he's only fought 3 times since 2014, so, less than 1 time a year. And his UFC fights have been against very questionable competition. He fought 2 guys who are 40 years old, in Sexyama and Mike Pyle. And, Akiyama and him had a very close competitive fight. Alberto Mina's long-rangey striker, nice kicks, he'll attack with good long hooks. Does a good job of using his full reach on his punches. Nice front kicks to the body. He'll go up to the head as well with the front kick. Doesn't use much of a jab or feints or fakes, and kind of just likes to slowly move back but stand right in front of you and try to counter when you try to attack. He can get leg kicked and pot shotted and not get off much at times, but he will attack with nice blitz combos when he does throw, and really likes to wing his punches and just come in a little bit wild. Mina does have big power in his left hook. He'll push the pace at the end of the rounds to try to win the round. Very good finishing instincts. Like I said, he'll go wide with his punches, but it gets him more reach on his shots, but it does leave himself exposed to be countered. But it does, when he comes with these real explosive blitzes from way far outside, it does give him a little more reach to get to you faster. He will attack with double legs into a body lock trip and has decent takedowns. He will sometimes look uncomfortable and shoot from way too far out when he's on the feet, but he does do a good job of attacking with a flurry or a knee to the body off the break. Mina does have cardio issues, and he was completely exhausted trying to get the fight to the ground at all costs in round 3 against Akiyama. He does have a pretty nasty flying knee KO against Mike Pyle. You guys should check that out if you haven't seen it. And he is dangerous at space, but when you get his back against the cage, he can have major issues, doesn't have good defense. And I don't think his takedown defense is really all that great either. But Ramazan Emeev is he's one of these Russians, a former M1 champion. Came into the UFC, picked up a victory at 185 pounds. Now he's going down to 170. And he's going to be a huge physical presence at welterweight, man. He's going to be a gigantic 170-pounder. Emeev is a solid athlete, well-rounded fighter. Nice jab and overhand right on the feet. He's always in perpetual forward motion, pushing his opponents backward. Controlling the distance and the pace of the fight, always controlling the engagements. Nice leg kicks both inside and outside. Great job using his punches to set up the clinch, and when he's in the clinch, he's extremely strong. He'll go for body lock takedowns on top. He's very heavy, hard to get up from under. Throws very heavy ground and pound, real hard punches to the elbows. 7 submissions as well, so you definitely have to be wary of the submission game. He has good takedown defense, and if you do take him down, he's extremely hard to hold down. Does a great job of reversing position, getting the single leg and taking you down. Very explosive, closes the distance very quickly. If you're against the cage, he'll unload with punch combinations. Definitely has big power. He's always very calm, cool, and collected in the cage. Always in control. Never uses very much wasted energy. And, I think that'll help him not only win decisions, but stay safe and have great cardio. And Emeev will get in the clinch and work as well. Does a great job attacking with shots off the break of the clinch. And Mina is aging, not very active. Alberto Mina is 13-0, but he is 35 years old. Hasn't fought in, nearly 2 years. So I just think that the more active, younger guy that's a better athlete will be able to walk down Alberto Mina in this fight. And I actually think he's going to get the finish. I think he's going to take down Mina in round 3 and finish with some ground pound or a submission. And I'm going to go with Ramazan Emeev, and that's as well one of my most confident picks of the night right there. And up next, Thales Leites against Jack Hermansson. You kind of have a fight here where they're trying to see if Thales Leites has anything left, or it's maybe time to part ways with him, I think. But Jack Hermansson's a long, athletic middleweight. On the feet, he likes to use a lot of lateral movement, bounce on his toes, throw kicks. He has fast kicks to the body and to the legs. He'll go inside and outside with oblique kicks. He likes to throw some nice, kicks to the legs, inside and outside and oblique, And he does have a lot of faking and feigning. Tries to disguise when he's coming in. He'll snap out his jab, throw a long right hook. But he doesn't use his hands very much. Really likes to, keep moving, use his legs, and then eventually time a takedown. But he does have good speed on the feet, does a good job of landing and not getting hit. Throws nice uppercuts in the clinch or on the break in the clinch. And he's definitely at his best on the feet when he has you in the clinch or your back gets the fence. He'll throw big right hands, left hooks, and uppercuts. Be much more willing to open up in those positions. Nice elbows and knees as well, and punches to the body in the clinch. Good entries on his double leg. He could drive you to the fence, chain together different takedowns. And if you defend the initial one, he's very good at, trying to go from the double to the single to the buddy lock, just trying to change it up. Very heavy. He does a great job of passing the mount once he gets on top, then making his opponents give up his back, flatten him out, and finish him with ground and pound. He's done that to quite a few people in the UFC. Hermansson does duck his head down at times when striking, can get caught with uppercuts, and sometimes he could throw a body or leg kick that he doesn't set up and get countered with straight punches. But overall, he does do a good job of staying out of range, being safe on the feet. He seems like he can get taken down at times, and if you see one of his knees or kicks coming, you can kind of time it and take him down off that. And Ferreira was able to do that. Took him down, subbed him with the arm triangle, which is, one of Thales Leites' specialties, the arm triangle. And he lost in his last fight by TKO, in his first TKO finish of his career. And he's 0-2 in the UFC in Brazil so far. So this could be his third fight in Brazil. See if he can finally get a win here. He is the younger fighter with more to gain here and should be the guy who's willing to push through more adversity, in my opinion. Thales is on his final legs, 36 years old, 19 UFC fights. He is noticeably declining. He throws some nice low leg kicks, throws them early and often, uses some decent footwork, decent movement, tries to stay out of boxing range, uses good feints and fakes, tries to divvy up timing on his attacks, throws solid short right hook, try to throw a jab, straight right hand. Will fake the jab, come up with the uppercut. He'll attack to the body with kicks, he'll fake low, go high with his kicks, but his leg kicks are much crisper than those. He's much better at throwing leg kicks than high kicks. He's hesitant to engage in a firefight in the pocket or throw hands with you now because I think he knows his chin is very weak. He gets rocked with punches more and more now. He's badly rocked by Brad Tavares and Chris Jocko. He does have a very nice body lock takedown. He will work the body lock single or try to work to the back, standing position, drag you to the ground. On top, he's very strong. He's one of the best arm triangles in MMA. He has good control, and most likely if he gets you down, he'll win the round with top control. If he fights to his strengths, he does do that. He shows good fight IQ, a good game plan. He's much better on top than off his back, but he does have decent sweeps from guard, off his back, and half guard, but he can be controlled on the ground and really pounded hard. Chris Jocko was able to get some good top control in and land some hard ground and pound. He comes in good shape. He was pushing in round 3 against Brad Tavares. So he's not going to be coming out of shape. Chris Camozzi, someone who's known for poor takedown defense in jiu-jitsu. Thales was able to use a game plan of immediately shooting for takedowns almost every round, getting him down right away, and he was eventually able to get the submission in that fight. His most recent win against Sam Alves, he fought a guy who likes to throw, only left hands and just only throw counters and just stand right in front of you. And Thales really doesn't struggle against those guys. He struggles more against guys who, like to stick and move, like to not stand right in front of him. And Brad Tavares was really battering his leg, really jabbing him up. And you have to wonder how much he has left in his gas tank and how much motivation he really has to keep going here. And I think he has extremely low chance of, ever fighting for a title again, anything like that. It's really just for legacy and for money now for Thales Leites. Hermansson's the younger guy with the better chin. He's more hungry. I think he's quicker. He'll be the better at sticking and moving. I think he'll take Thales down at some points as well in this fight and have some nice top control. And I just think that he's going to be able to just really win through volume and just taking him down. I think it's going to be a very dominant decision, 30-27 across the board for Jack Hermansson. I think he's going to make it, where they can't rob him because it's going to be such a wide decision. But coming up next, we have Sultan Aliyev versus Warley Alves. And Sultan Aliyev is another Dagestani Russian, former combat Sambo world champion, very good wrestler in top control. His striking is very rudimentary though, a complete means to an end. And he's not been very active in his UFC career, and that definitely has to play a part in his striking, definitely his timing in the cage as well. And, he hasn't fought since January 2015, or he's been in the UFC since January 2015, only fought twice. And his striking is solely to get in the clinch. He'll throw almost no volume on the feet, never throws in combinations. He'll throw an overhand or a hook, try to cross the distance, get a hold of you. Once he gets a hold of you, he'll attack with a body lock, trip, or single leg. Very solid takedowns. He can sometimes shoot from too far out. And, I think that his strikes are just not very good. And a guy like Alves may be able to exploit that with the guillotine. And he came into the UFC with the more wild, open striking style, throwing more strikes, more kicks. But he got knocked out after throwing a spinning kick against Kenny Robertson. And when he returned, he didn't throw any more of those kicks very much. His sole focus was basically just to get in the clinch. He doesn't do much damage on top. He really just prefers to keep position at top control. He has pretty good top control from half guard, lands some small ground and pound shots and elbows. He was almost caught in an armbar against Bojan Veličković and had to defend a triangle as well. He does have good power and can knock you out if he opens up, but he's yet to do that in the UFC. He does have good cardio. He'll lean back on his feet to try to avoid shots, have his chin straight up in the air. Keeps his hands very low, especially after he throws combinations. And, his whole game plan is just to take you down and hold you down for all 3 rounds. And he could just lose rounds on the feet by not being active. If you could land kicks, long-range punches while moving, not giving him a chance to set up an overhand to get in the clinch, then you'll definitely win the round. He doesn't have much of a plan B in his fights, and if you could stop his takedowns, keep him at his distance, he doesn't have much of an answer for you other than a potential lucky punch. He's going to be returning from a year and a half layoff against arguably the best fighters ever fought in Warlley Alves. Warlley Alves is a beast, man, especially early. He's fought some very good wrestlers already with mixed results. Got a submission win against Colby Covington. Lost a decision to Kamaru Usman. But he's very well-rounded, has good footwork and movement. Throws very nice counter right and left hooks. Big power with his hooks. Good at cutting you off, controlling the center of the cage and the striking. Very nice uppercuts. Does a good job of landing a straight to get in the clinch, throwing a knee, ended with a hard uppercut. Real nice crisp combinations. He was doing much better at blending together his wrestling and his striking his last time out. Really looked good. Throw punches into the clinch to make his takedowns very easy. He likes to try to take the back off his body lock takedowns. He'll come in on different angles, make it hard to read his entries into his strikes. Really can get a bit wild with his punches at times though when he gets too confident. But he can strike using movement, countering, moving backwards, or being the aggressor very well. So he can strike going backwards and forwards. Very fast and comfortable in the pocket in a firefight. He'll attack to the body with punches. Very nice body kicks. He'll get the body. Just under your defense. Definitely has big power. He'll throw a high kick as well. Left high kick especially is very fast. He has good feints. He'll freeze you, land shots, or draw you out, counter you. He'll attack with solid knees to the body. Extremely aggressive early. Will walk you down, go for the finish if he doesn't respect you. And I believe he's going to respect the takedowns of Aliyev. I think that you're going to see a movement, stick and move type game. I think he has good takedown defense. He's going to be able to land short elbows and knees in the clinch against the cage if it does get there and defend the takedowns. And he has an amazing guillotine, man. He was able to get Colby Covington in a guillotine and Nordine Taleb, who are 2 top 15 welterweights. Nice front kicks to the body, nice inside leg kicks. And he has a great chin. He can take a lot of punishment. Never been finished. He'll sit down, throw hard shots if you pressure him. Usman was not able to take him down in round 1 or round 2. And he has a very good get-up game if you take him down as well. He has gas before, but those are against guys who are constantly pushing the pace and moving forward. And guys like Brian Barberita, Kamaru Usman. He can't get comfortable with his back up against the fence too much at times. But he showed well-roundedness in his last fight, going for takedowns, controlling the fight in the clinch. He's definitely big and physical for the division, and I believe he has better technique in the clinch against the cage than Aliyev does. Aliyev is not very active on the feet. He will not tax Alves' gas take. He won't be pushing very hard. He showed an improved gas take as well in his last fight, Alves, so I think he is getting better at that. Alves is coming off a 1.5 year layoff, as I said, and Worley is just the better fighter here. His striking is way better, and I actually believe he could submit Alves as well. You should be able to get a knockout in this fight. Alves does a lot of reaching, a lot of leading back to avoid shots, terrible habits to have it striking, and just not UFC level, in my opinion, of the striking. This is a big step up in competition for Alves as well, and I'm going to go with Worley Alves by second round TKO. And we're going to be moving on to the FS1 prelims now, and the first fight is a pretty great fight, man. Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos, who never disappoints, coming back to fight Sean Strickland. And Sean Strickland's a huge welterweight. He's long and rangy. Does a good job of accentuating his reach. Great jab, very fast and stiff with his jab. Throw a nice right hook behind the jab. Also throw very nice straight punches. Definitely sacrifices power for speed. He's always up on his toes, moving around. Throw around body kicks, front body kicks with both legs. Very fast with good snap. Definitely has good kicks. Good lateral movement. Does a good job of hitting and moving, not getting hit. He can stand a bit straight up at times. If you come with longer combinations, you may be able to clip him. He leans back to avoid shots as well sometimes, which is a bad habit. He's a good grappler, has great body lock takedowns against the cage. Very good at defending takedowns, not accepting getting held down, popping right back up. Very heavy on top, lands nice ground and pound, but he's not super active. He has good tools, but he needs to expand his toolbox, especially in the striking. He doesn't vary his strike spots. He only really throws the jab, right hook, and his front round kicks. He has no problem giving up the center cage and countering you. He needs to get more explosive sit-downs with his shots and just get a little more dangerous, in my opinion. He just doesn't show that urgency in his fights, and due to that, he gets in a lot of close fights. He does have good cardio, and he's never been finished in his career, so he has a great chin. Zaleski dos Santos is a wild man, bro. He's just someone who's always in wars, always extremely aggressive, throws with huge power, really sits down on all his shots. Does make him a bit slower, but it makes him more dangerous as well, because if you get hit with those, you're going to sleep. And he wings wide, looping hooks, overhands, nice uppercuts as well. He'll attack with a lot of different kicks. He has a solid front kick to the body, nice round kick. Throw heavy head kicks as well. Very explosive. He'll attack with dangerous blitz attacks. Where he'll throw a combination. Has a very solid jab, but he doesn't throw his jab as much as he should. He's at his best when he's landing the jab and following up with the right and left hooks. He'll throw very nice leg kicks, and that could be a tool he uses against Sean Strickland here, because I think that Sean Strickland's leg is there to be kicked. He has nice knees in the clinch, very good dirty boxing game. Tries to stay active in the clinch, is always throwing a lot of strikes. He only attacks in straight lines, and he doesn't fake or feint much, so he can get time coming in. He does have a bit of a towel on his blitzes, kind of shuffles his feet before he comes in. He's much better at fighting going forward than backwards. No problem in exchanging in the pocket. He has a great chin, and just likes to wing those punches. He'll attack with the single leg and body lock takedowns. Decent takedowns, but not great. Very solid and active on top, though, and he'll go for submissions, ground and pound, and he really will push late fights to get the finish or hunt for the, submission. And awesome cardio. He definitely steals fights in round 3. And this is a very interesting, close fight. I do think the jab would be a huge problem for Dos Santos. Someone that's a little bit predictable, that comes in straight lines. And I think that, Strickland's going to be able to see that coming, be able to time him with that jab, really stifle Dos Santos' entries a bit. I think he may even get dropped with that jab. He does come in too wildly, but he does have a chance to steal the fight with, blitz combinations, maybe just looking like he's landing the bigger shots, and or land a head kick knockout. I think that that's there as well. And this is in Brazil, and Strickland likes to keep it close. And with the explosions of Zaleski dos Santos, I could see a fight where a lot of people think Sean Strickland won, but they give it to Zaleski. But I think Zaleski, I think he's just not on par with Strickland's overall skill set. I think Strickland has better wrestling. I think he can control from top position if, he starts to see that the striking is a bit close. And I think he's going to come in with the game plan. He's going to execute it. I think he's going to be able to land his jab, slow the forward motion to Zaleski, and I think he's going to be able to land a takedown in all 3 rounds, get some top control. And I'm going to go with Sean Strickland there by decision. And I'm going to say it's going to be 30-27 or 29-28 there for Sean Strickland. And up next we have a very interesting fight with Davey Ramos against Nick Hein. And Nick Hines, a grinder, judo black belt, likes to use his footwork and movement on the feet, likes to throw hooks and then close the distance, get you against the fence, grind into clinch, work for takedowns. Solid footwork and lateral movement, makes stuff a hard target to hit while coming in on good angles, landing his own shots. Definitely has big power in his right and left hook. He could drop you with it if he catches you right. He dropped James Vick 2 times in their fight in the first round. Solid overhand right as well. He can time you coming in with it to accentuate the power. Throw solid leg kicks and body kicks. He likes to attack inside leg kicks, and I believe he should throw more kicks as they're pretty powerful. And when he's not countering, he can't get caught coming in on straight lines too much or standing in range and just not doing anything. He can get touched with straight punches. He does show a good chin. He has eaten some big shots. No problem standing his ground in the pocket and throwing down with you. Usually will land the bigger, more powerful shot too and drop you. He's a good athlete, but still is a little stiff on the feet. Great timing on his body lock takedowns and a lot of strength. He doesn't have the greatest top game or submission game, and people can stand back up after his takedowns. He has great takedown defense himself, and I think he's never been taken down in the UFC if I'm correct. Good cardio, always comes in shape, ready to go. He has a short reach, so he either needs to get inside or stay outside with lateral movement in his fights. And at times he can't struggle to find his range, coming up just short with hooks and overheads. He can't get caught ducking down at times when he enters to strike. He can be inactive for long periods of time on the feet, and then likes to try to just win the round with a late takedown. He's been largely inactive, has suffered a lot of injuries in the UFC. He's had to pull out of back-to-back fights. It hasn't fought nearly 2 years. He has had back problems in the past, and he didn't disclose the injuries he had for those past 2 camps, so we don't know. But for Davi Ramos, she's an explosive athlete with big knockout power and very elite jiu-jitsu. Short, compact guy, very similar to Nick Hine. He closed that distance, laid left and right hooks very quickly. He's finally going to be fighting someone where he'll have a reach advantage in this fight, and he usually never has a reach advantage. But he likes to throw the overhead right, set it up behind a jab or left straight. Big power in his kicks as well. And his stunning body kicks. He'll attack with leg kicks as well. But he should be much more active with his kicking game, in my opinion. He likes to hang back and counter you. Won't use much footwork or fakes or feints, but rather just slowly walk you down, stay in your face, try to get you to throw so you can counter with a flurry or overhead right. He has decent head movement, nice powerful jab. And I believe the reach advantage he has a chance to use it in this matchup. I think he's going to use it. He has a nice step-in knee. He'll land knees in the clinch as well. A nice uppercut left hook combo. He's good at parrying and hand fighting. He has fast hands, fast flying knees, improving every fight as well with the stand-up. His last fight he was using his jab, throwing much more punchy combinations. He does a good job of catching kicks, countering the punches, or getting the takedown. Decent double-leg shots as well, but it can be telegraphed at times. Nice body lock trip takedowns. There's a lot of strength in those positions. In top position, he's very heavy, has great pressure passes, gets straight to side control or mount. He'll search for the arm triangle from half guard. He's looking for submission, keeping position over ground and pound, but when he postures up, he can land some heavy shots. He's able to battle through a tough fight in his last one against Chris Grutzmacher. You could tell he's visibly tired, but he found a way to get that fight to the ground very early in round 3, finished with a rear naked choke. If he gets on your back, it'll be very hard to survive that. He's one of the best jiu-jitsu guys in the UFC. And I believe this is going to be a fairly uneventful fight with the possibility of a few big moments. I think Hyde would not want to take the fight to the ground here. I think he's going to be trying to use movements, fakes and feints, just try to land, not get hit. I think Ramos is going to be the guy more likely to finish in this fight. Definitely the more athletic of the two, if you ask me. And, I think that he's going to be just a little more explosive. I think, Ramos will be, someone that's going to be able to maybe land the harder, more visibly affecting shots here. And due to that, I'm going to say Davi Ramos wins a split decision here in Brazil. In a fight where maybe a lot of people think Nick Hine won. But I'm going to say Davi Ramos wins that fight there by split decision. And up next we have Alexio Lineker against Junior Albini. And this is a pretty fun fight. I mean, both these guys are very contrasting styles, very interesting guys as well. Both kind of intriguing in their own ways. And, this is going to be the 66th fight in MMA for Alexio Lineker. Definitely a bit of a plotter on the feet. He slowly walks you down with his hands low. He could come over the top with long casting hooks, those Russian hooks, with both arms, both hands, very strong. He could walk through your shots to land his own overhand right or left hook. And big power in his overhand right. He dropped Travis Brown with it, KO Jared Roshold with it. He will work into the clinch, then land nice punches to the body in the clinch, nice uppercuts, really kind of like just goes for broke in those clinch positions, doesn't care about getting hit himself, will just try to land a lot of punishment, and really tries to look for those body lock takedowns, very long, so he can throw his casting hooks from a distance, get a hold of you pretty quickly. Nice uppercut, he'll throw solid leg kicks as well. Throws everything full power. Definitely one of the best heavyweight jiu-jitsu practitioners in MMA history. 45 submission victories, very insane, very unorthodox attacks as well. 10 Ezekiel chokes. Only person to ever get an Ezekiel choke in the UFC. And you'll see him get that grip, that Ezekiel choke grip, even on the feet, and try to pull you on top of him with it from the standing clinch position. But it seems a lot of people have, began to know what he's doing there. Curtis Blades just kind of let him fall flat on his back, made him look very stupid. And he's very comfortable both off his back and on top. Good guard. He'll try to trap the wrist, attack with triangles and arm bars. Good job getting back up out of side control. Nice sweeps, and was able to sweep Travis Brown, get a single leg, take his back, and choke him out. He has an amazing squeeze, and finished his last 14 wins. He gets people to tap very quickly. He does duck his head when he strikes. Sometimes he can get timed with knees and uppercuts. He's also one of the slowest heavyweights in the division, so in space, for long periods of time, he'll definitely get lit up. He needs to close the distance of this fight to make him an ugly brawl on the feet, ultimately get him to the ground and finish the job. He does lean back a lot on the feet as well when he's striking, and since he's long, he gets away with it. But against someone with good kicks, that could be a huge problem. He has a good chin. He will bang with you in the clinch and in the pocket. Each shot just continues to walk through him. Even if you drop him, he does a good job recovering, coming back. But he seems like he has a one-round gas tank, but he is a veteran. He can push through, has great heart, and can kind of make things happen even when he's exhausted. The way he fights, it makes his opponents tired as well. He really pushes a brawl. But Junior Albini is a much quicker, more fluid heavyweight. Nice straight right hand, throws nice front kicks to the body, throw nice hard leg kicks. But I think he should use his kicks more, man. He definitely has some big power in his kicks. 265 pounds, he hits pretty hard, If he hits you with the long combo, he can definitely knock you out. But he doesn't have that one-punch knockout power. He can go high with the head kick, seems to have decent hand speed and fluid striking. He can be a bit inactive on the feet at times, searching for headshots. He'll use lateral movement, try to avoid you, close the distance, but he isn't the greatest athlete, and due to that, he can be corralled and controlled against the cage. Decent in the clinch, but he can be controlled, and that's definitely not where he wants to be against Lineker. He'll do a solid job getting underhooks, controlling you against the cage, turning you around, but he doesn't let off much offense at all from there. He has huge legs and lower body, and that makes him have decent takedown defense. So it'll be hard to get down with traditional wrestling shots, but in the clinch he can be taken down. But he is opportunistic and calm in the cage. He'll try to wait for his moment, take it, and finish the fight. He's solid on top with good ground and pound. I haven't seen much of him off his back, but he has been submitted 2 times early in his career. He has a 10-fight win streak snapped in his last fight, in a fight where he wasn't really able to get much off. And he's going to be at a severe experience disadvantage in this fight, But Lineker's going to have that advantage against almost everyone. But Albini is going to be at home. He's going to be in Brazil. And I think he has the better gas take than Alexei here. Alexei has been training with Andre Arlovski as well, so I'm sure he's helping him out with the game plan. But this is just a really hard fight for me to pick. I think Albini would definitely need to survive a storm for Lineker, but if he can, he should be able to have the better gas take later on in this fight. And I'm going to go with Junior Albini by 3rd round TKO. I think he's going to be able to, defend the takedowns early on, or even if he gets taken down, survive, get into that 2nd round. And I'm going to think that Alexei's really going to slow down. You're going to see Albini start to be able to get off some of his range striking and really punish Alexei. And I'm going to say he finishes him in the 3rd round. And up next, we have another very close, very fun fight for me to tape, and Cesar Ferreira against Carl Roberson. And, this is a fight that I've seen a lot of people with real split minds on this fight. Carl Roberson's going to be taking a massive step up here. He's faced a long-time UFC vet, Cesar Ferreira. Roberson is a former kickboxer, but he's not one of these guys like Israel Adesanya that has a huge, legacy in kickboxing, has a lot of experience. He's only 0-3 as a kickboxer in his career and 6-0 in MMA, so he's very young in his career. I watched this fight versus Jerome LeBanner in kickboxing. It was a very fun fight. Roberson was able to show some good technique. He was patient, used a lot of movement, waited to counter, landed hard punches. He did throw some kicks, leg kicks, a front kick to the body, but overall he didn't use his kicking game that often. He landed a really nasty counter uppercut, the straight left combo that dropped LeBanner, and the ref gave a very slow count that let LeBanner recover. I think it was like 30 seconds, and kind of got fucked there, but LeBanner was able to come back and win that fight. He was even able to drop Roberson with a body kick, and Roberson faded in that fight as it went on. And it was against the older LeBanner. It was LeBanner's retirement fight, but that was also the debut kickboxing match for Carl Roberson. So both guys, both had solid showings. He's undefeated in MMA, and with the winner, he could be looking at a top 15 guy in only his 8th fight, And Roberson had a great showing on Dana White Contender Series. He was able to get a knockout in less than 20 seconds. And really what happened was Ryan Spann just tried to get in that clinch and gave Carl Roberson a very, very easy, target. He didn't protect his chin. Had it sitting right there for him to elbow it, and he landed like 3 or 4 short front elbows, just dropped him, knocked him out cold. Very, very, very strong technique there by Roberson. And then Roberson fought Darren Stewart, his UFC debut, at another first-round finish. He was throwing some nice head kicks in that fight, looking for the straight left. Landed some hard knees and uppercuts in the clinch. His knees to the body and the head were vicious. He was controlled against the fence for some time against Stewart, though. But Stewart was trying way too hard to take him down, really showed very poor technique. And Roberson was able to use weight against him, lateral drop him, and got a nice rear naked choke after getting the slam. But he didn't do much to set up the rear naked choke. You could tell that against a real seasoned jiu-jitsu guy, he's not going to get that choke without, throwing some punches, trying to soften him up. He really just went right for the choke. And Stewart is just not very good. Stewart expended a ton of energy in that fight early on with stupid techniques like spinning kicks and punches. And Roberson is not someone who's going to come forward and overwhelm you, in my opinion. He kind of likes to hang back early, read what you're going to do, maybe throw some kicks, try to land a straight left uppercut. But he hasn't been out of the first round in his last 5 fights, and only once in his entire career, so definitely is still a finisher and finishes early. And he's never fought outside of the U.S., even in kickboxing either, so this is going to be his first legit opponent in MMA and his first time fighting overseas in his career. So we have yet to see him tested versus someone who's well-rounded, but a good grappler who used that game plan, and that might give him trouble, and that's exactly what we have in Cesar Ferreira. And Cesar's a long guy with solid striking and takedowns. He's fought 12 times in the UFC, so he's fought 6 times more in the UFC than Robeson's fought total in his whole career. And Mutate came into the UFC a very dangerous striker, nasty kicking game, capoeira kicking game. And but after getting knocked out a few times, he changed his style to be much more about defense, timing, and movement. Times very good straight right. He'll land hard body kicks. Uses a lot of movement. Does a great job of not getting his back against the cage. Great timing on his double leg takedowns. Very strong in the clinch, dragging you to the ground. Won 4 out of his last 5 since moving back to 185 pounds. Beat some quality guys like Anthony Smith, Jack Hermansson. And he does a good job using kicks to stop you from getting in range. Throws nice kicks to the legs, into the body. Has a decent check right hook. He can get cracked with left hooks and straights if you time him circling away. And he has not been knocked out in his last 5 fights, though, but his chin is still very suspect. He has great timing on his double legs. He'll get a couple around to try to seal the round. And uses his takedowns in space. He doesn't spend a lot of time in the clinch going for takedowns. And that's where Roberson has capitalized in his first 2 UFC fights. He's really capitalizing guys trying to take him down in the clinch. And he just doesn't do that. He uses a lot of his takedowns in space, big power in his takedown, in his double leg, and his drive. And even if he shoots a bad shot, he can still usually finish it. He isn't extremely active on top. He likes to stay in your guard. He'll land some punches and elbows. But he does have a solid arm triangle, and he does solid foot sweep takedowns as well in the clinch. Does a good job of dragging you down, trying to take your back. He can get out hustled at times in the clinch and grappling exchanges, but you have to be good enough to scramble with Ferreira. And he has a nice guillotine. He'll dive on it if he feels it. He could get it. He can get clipped exiting and entering the clinch. And that's where Robertson is very dangerous, so that could be a possibility of where he can finish this fight is, exiting or entering the clinch. But Ferreira has solid cardio, uses a solid game plan for all 3 rounds. But he can't slow down if he gets pushed. But he has had more difficult moments in MMA, and he's learned and improved from them. I think this is definitely a bit too much for Robertson early on. And I think this fight's going to start slow, with both guys trying to figure out who's going to lead the dance. And eventually I think Ferreira's going to, be able to land a double leg. And we've never seen Robertson off his back. I don't know how comfortable he's going to be off his back, especially against a good jiu-jitsu guy like Ferreira. And I'm going to say Ferreira's able to get a arm triangle in round 2 after sauce him up with some ground and pounds of control in round 1. I'm going to go with Cesar Ferreira there by second round arm triangle submission. And up next we have a fight with, 2 legends of the sport, man, 2 aging vets against Vitor Belfort and Lyoto Machida. True Brazilian icons fighting in Brazil. I'm sure this is a very special fight for the fans down there. And both guys are coming off a win after extended losing streaks. Both actually had been finished 3 times in a row before getting that win. And both were finished 3 times in a row by TKO KO. So both guys' chins maybe are starting to go. But they both had those losses to top 5, top 10 guys, and then got a win against a guy outside the top 15. And both of their wins were very questionable, controversial wins. So they're kind of in very similar positions. But I think Machida's definitely taken the worst knockouts. He was knocked out cold by Brunson and Romero. Really took a ton of punishment against Luke Rockhold before he was submitted. And Vitor's 2-3-1 since USADA, but his 2 wins have been against older legends, like the guy he's fighting Saturday. He knocked out Dan Henderson, really had a nasty head kick, followed up with straight left hand. And he also beat Nate Marquardt recently. Machida was able to get his win against Eric Anders. And Vitor Belfort is still dangerous, has a good hand speed still. His left straight is still very fast and powerful. And he waits, keeps his energy, and really just explodes when he sees an opening. He likes the left straight, left high kick, and the right hook. Slowly walk you down, stay in your face while trying to back you up against the fence. He's become very inactive of late on the feet for long periods of time, just not letting go. Still has some nice finishing instincts if he hurts you. He hit Nate Marquardt with a nice short uppercut that went for the finish against the cage with a big left kick, hard uppercut, short hooks, and knees. Didn't get the finish there, but tried to. He actually still has a decent chin and resolve. He was able to eat a lot of shots against Kelvin Gastelum and Gegard Mousasi, and both of them didn't put him out. And he never really goes for offensive grappling at all. And his last win, which was his first fight with TriStar, was his first decision win since 2007, and his first UFC decision win of his career. So just shows where he is. He's not a guy that's going in there with huge volume trying to finish the fight or get finished. He actually went to decision and won a decision for the first time since 2007. So this could be his second fight with TriStar. And, like everyone knows, TriStar has a very disciplined game plan. So I think that's probably why he went there, trying to maybe stay safer in his fights after he got finished 3 times in a row. But he is what he is at this point in his career. And with this fight being his last one, you have to wonder if he will be motivated, or he's going to want to put on a vintage performance in front of the fans, maybe, who knows, but could be thinking about, Cancun, as well. So, but for Lyoto Machida, he's rededicated himself to training. Seems like he wants to continue fighting for a while. He was able to show he could beat a southpaw in his last fight, but still was caught with some straight left hands and unset up leg kicks that rocked him. And he's fought 4 southpaws in a row, so should finally be comfortable with this. And 1-3 in those fights, and Vitor is another southpaw, so this is going to be his 5th consecutive southpaw. And Vitor's still very fast with his left straight and left kicks, and that's something that Machida has to be very wary of. And Machida was landing nice hard leg kicks in the last fight, using his normal style, kicking, skirting the cage, trying to dart in and out, hit and not get hit. Actually showed some pretty solid quickness, landing nice straight rights, step-in knees, nice leg kicks, and then just going back to circling the cage. And Machida was able to eat some hard shots from Anders, but overall, I think this will be a very similar fight to his last fight. Vitor is not active anymore and just looks for the kill shot. And I think Machida is going to be able to circle the cage, land more volume, and just kick and move against Vitor. I don't see a way that Vitor could win a decision here, to be honest, unless he rocks Lyoto bad in multiple rounds. But I can't see him landing a big shot and finishing Machida. But I do think that the more likely outcome is that Vitor is not active and Machida is able to win a decision on just landing kicks, landing punches, getting in and out, skirting the cage, and just being more active than Belfort. So I'm going to go with Lyoto Machida, 29-28 or 30-27 on all three cards. And we'll see what comes next for Lyoto and if Vitor will really retire, but that's what I see going on there. And up next we have John Lineker against Brian Kelleher. This is another fun fight, man. This fight should be a barn burner. I mean, I don't see how this fight could be bad. Both guys have awesome striking wars in their UFC careers. Lineker is just a vicious knockout striker, man. He almost solely throws hooks with his punches, but dig him to the body and to the head with both hands. Big power. He just overwhelms you with that power and volume. He can strike both ways. He can go backwards, draw you into his shots, or just walk you down and just be, an assassin landing those punches. And he does his best work when he could get you against the cage, backing you up. He has the most knockdowns in UFC history, and anyone who decided to stand and trade with Lineker has lost, man. He's 11-3 in the UFC, 5 knockouts, and all 3 of his losses are due to more wrestling-centric game plans. Ali Bagatinov was able to take him down. Luis Godinez got a submission, and TJ Dillashaw was also able to take him down quite a few times. But he's still pretty solid at denying takedowns, and the only guy that was able to take him down was TJ Dillashaw, who's just extremely explosive and athletic, has beautiful timing on his double legs, and Lineker has a good get-up game. He doesn't accept position on the ground, very strong, has a legendary chin, man, just eats shots. Eating shots just fires him up. Dillashaw was elbowing him in the face on the ground. He was just giving him his chin to elbow. And just awesome, man. He has great cardio. He can go 5 rounds. He doesn't throw a ton of kicks, but he was using a lot of leg kicks in his last fight, which was a very good thing to see. I think he should start to try to use more kicks, try to divvy up his game a little bit. If you use movement, he can't struggle to find his range. He seems to force guys into war, though, and he just really has a way of imposing his style. In his last fight against Marlon Vera, like I said, he was throwing more kicks. He landed some solid leg kicks. He's still slow with his kicks compared to his punches, but definitely that'll help him going forward. And Brian Kelleher was getting pieced up with leg kicks against Barral, so I think that that's something that he could potentially use. But Kelleher is coming off the biggest win of his career against Renan Barral. He's a forward pressure wrestle boxer, tries to push the pace, stay in your face, and break you. He likes to press you, stay in your face, throw down, pocket. Has a very nice overhand right that he throws very often, very heavy with it. He'll throw the jab out there, follow that up with the right hook. Very nice right uppercut. Very nice spinning back fist. He's the most athletic guy, and his hands are a bit slow in the pocket. He'll throw some leg kicks, front kicks to the body whenever he feels he's not getting the best of the striking. He will shoot. He'll go for doubles. Usually end up not finishing the doubles, but coming back up with the body lock, pushing you against the fence, getting some control time, working for different types of takedowns. Works for double legs against the cage. He can be controlled against the cage himself as well, but he has no fear coming in the pocket, eating your shots, landing his own. Like I said, he's not a super explosive athlete. You could just time takedowns in space like TJ Dillashaw. But he does have a great chin. He's never been finished with strikes. I think he's going to push hard all 3 rounds if he can. But I just think that power of Lineker is just too much, man. I think it's a different thing. You see him do things to guys that are great strikers like Michael McDonald, great strikers like John Dodson, where he hits them and they just don't have the same exact, response they do to another 135-pound guy hitting him like that. Same thing with Rob Fine, just makes people purely defensive, makes people just want to move backwards. And Brian Kelleher, I don't think he's going to make him do that. I think Kelleher's going to be wanting to get in a brawl and all that stuff, but I think that that's going to be to his detriment, man. And I think that he's going to lose that fight. I think that John Lineker is going to be able to knock him out in round 2, but it's going to be a great fight while it lasts. And up next, we have Mackenzie Dern against Amanda Bobby Cooper. And just, kind of a crapshoot of a fight, in my opinion. This is going to be the return of Mackenzie Dern, and it's going to be in Brazil, where she has her biggest fan base. Both fighters are not living in Brazil. They're going to have to make the trip over from the U.S. And that's actually the first time ever in UFC history where two non-Brazilian-born females are going to be fighting in Brazil in the UFC. So pretty cool there, but Dern will definitely have the crowd support, But, Brazilian-born females versus fighters not born in Brazil are 10-3-1. Ronda Rousey, Valentina, and Marion Renault are the only 3 females to escape with the win. And Marion Renault actually has the draw as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see if these girls show up, because most of the time people that travel over don't show up. And Amanda Cooper is a boxer, decent grappling submission skills. When she fought Tatiana Suarez, who's a great grappler, she actually had some success in the grappling. She had some fast hips, was able to get pretty deep in on an arm bar. She had a nice sweep, was able to get top position. Also attacked with a guillotine, but overall, I think she showed very poor fight IQ in that fight. She kept trying to grapple with Suarez, was diving on guillotines, just being much too willing to grapple with an Olympic wrestler. Eventually got caught in a sub there. This is going to be her 7th pro fight. She has a salty record of 3-3, but she does have 12 amateur fights, so this is going to be her 20th overall MMA fight. So definitely has more experience than Mackenzie Dern in MMA. Cooper is a 2-time Golden Gloves winner. Solid boxing skills and footwork. Decent head movement. She will throw nice 2-punch combinations with a nice left hand lead, followed with a right straight. She'll change up the left hand from a jab to a straight to an uppercut, but she usually always follows up with that straight right. She will attack to the body with her left hand as well with solid hooks. She likes to be in space on the feet. She'll use a front kick to the body, side kick to the body to try to keep the space. She can come in sometimes with kicks. She does not set up, leave her head right on the center line and get cracked. She got dropped by Anna Alves with a straight punch off an unset up kick. She does a solid job of cutting good angles, making the cage small, staying in your face. Fairly fast hands, and when she gets her jab going, her jab straight right going, she can be fairly effective. She'll switch stances, use a nice left hook from southpaw. She has solid double leg takedowns and will get takedowns in the clinch as well. She's able to take down Angela Magana in her last fight and just dominate her on the ground. She does like to mix it up in almost all her fights, spend some time on the ground. Cooper will throw a high kick and body kick, but she really telegraphs her kicks and they come very slow. Calvillo was able to catch her kick, take her down, and she will attack off her back. She'll look for fast arm bars, solid sweeps from her guard, but if you pass her guard, she's very vulnerable. She does have heart. She'll take a beating, not give up. She took a beating before submitting against Aspen Ladd. And she will fight to get out of submissions until there's no choice but to tap. So you definitely have to put this girl in a bad position, make her quit. But all 3 of her losses are by submission. On top, she's solid and aggressive. She'll land some big ground and pound. Does a good job improving position, eventually getting the mount. She can't get too over aggressive on top though, lose position, trying to, just being over aggressive. She sometimes looks like she has deep subs locked in and just abandons them. I don't know why. And she'll want to totally abandon her offensive grappling instincts to engage in grappling scenarios in this fight. Just use her wrestling purely defensively. Because if she goes to the ground in third, even if she's on top, she's in big trouble. She does have great cardio, and last fight she was able to keep a blistering pace, land a ton of ground and pound. And this is a huge opportunity for Amanda Cooper. She seems extremely focused and locked in. And on the contrary for Mackenzie Dern, she's actually had a very tumultuous camp for this one. She actually came out and said that she was no longer trained at MMA Lab due to a disagreement with John Crouch, where John Crouch said that she wanted her to train every day, wanted her to be in the gym, and Mackenzie Dern actually said this, where she said she likes to go to the beach sometimes, do something fun, miss the mats, and want to come back, which is just, I don't know, man, that's not a great headspace to be in before a fight, in my opinion, because camp is not supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be something that's very hard. It's supposed to be something that's supposed to be a grind, and if you're trying to make camp fun, not training very often, I mean, for someone that's a young developing fighter that needs all the training she can get, that's just not something that you like to hear. But she's training in LA for this fight, And her striking is still extremely raw, needs a ton of work. She stands right in front of her opponents with little footwork, chin up, very high, wings punches. She throws with big power, no fear, and the girl hasn't hit her hard enough to, make her fear what's coming back yet. She does have power, and she very willing to be wild and just wing punches, wing combos. And she'll finish her combos at times with a body kick, land nice low leg kicks at times as well, but they aren't set up. She does a lot of leaning back to avoid shots and will freeze after she gets hit, just leaves herself very vulnerable to combinations. She doesn't have any offensive wrestling in terms of shooting and only really goes to her upper body lock clinches, tries to trip you to the ground. And she will try to use a single against the cage at times, but she doesn't have a good job of finding the angle or try to dump her opponent. She kind of just pushes you straight into the cage. She has decent knees and elbows in the clinch, seems fairly strong in that position. She does have cardio questions as well, and she does get tired. She got very tired in her last fight, but she does a good job of persevering, and she actually has some late finishes. In her last fight, she was able to almost finish Ashley Yoder, and previously in a victory against Kayla Medeiros, she got a third round submission. And, she landed the only shot she took from range against Yoder, which was a decent double leg. And on top, she does an excellent job of taking the back, transitioning for arm bars, or getting the rear naked choke. She'll go to the mount, land hard shots. And this is a crapshoot for me, in my opinion. Dern has a much better chance of finishing on the ground, but she's much worse on the feet. And if Cooper sticks to a game plan, she's the easiest path to victory. I'm going to go with Amanda Bobby Cooper in this one, purely due to the fact that she seems to be taking this extremely seriously, and Dern's on the outs at the MMA lab due to the poor work ethic. And I think that Cooper's just going to have, better striking. She's going to be able to avoid the takedowns of Dern, avoid the entries, and just piece her up from the outside. And, it's hard to have faith in Cooper here, though, with arguably her biggest win coming over Jamie Moyle. But her striking is just much better than Mackenzie Dern. And Dern is coming back after 2 months, so it's not very long to improve. It's not like she'd get much better at her striking. So I'm going to go with Amanda Cooper by decision in that one. And I'm going to say that it's a pretty dominant decision there. And up next, you have the co-main event, an excellent fight with Kelvin Gastelum against Ronaldo Jacare Souza. And Kelvin Gastelum is one of the best boxers in the division and in the UFC, period. And while Jacare is one of the best jiu-jitsu practitioners, so this is a great fight. They're both pretty well-rounded too, so definitely high-level MMA here. And Kelvin Gastelum has some really nasty hand speed, great combination punching, always moving and feigning, using footwork, not being a sitting target, not, always loose with his hands, keeps his hands low, but makes it hard to see when he's coming in with his punches, very loose. He'll flick out his jab, has a really nice jab, throws his jab to the body too. His 1-2 is probably his best combination, has a ton of power, can knock his opponents out cold with it. Does a great job keeping his distance behind his jab, making it hard for guys to get inside against him. Really showed that against Tim Kennedy. Has a pretty nice left uppercut as well. He'll use his left uppercut, when you're trying to get inside on him. He's always feinting, using false starts to disguise entries, land clean punches. He had a very nasty slip counter KO in his last fight against Michael Bisping. Very comfortable in the pocket. He's really been hurting people at 185 pounds. A lot of knockdowns, a lot of finishes. He doesn't throw a ton of kicks, but he's still dangerous with them. Throw nice low leg kicks and also go high with high kicks. He dropped Rick Story with the high kick. Landed a heavy body kick against Michael Bisping. Gastelum is well-rounded, has solid wrestling skills, nice double leg. He likes to shoot the double leg in the open mat. Good drive. Good counter wrestling as well, good scrambles. He'll counter, end up on top. He will want to use his wrestling in reverse in this fight. He's actually hard to take down. He's also a moving target, hard to time a shot on. If you do take him down, he does an excellent job staying composed, staying calm, and just standing back up. He'll continue to stand back up, and it just wears guys out when he just stands back up, eventually gets away, stays calm, and just goes back to his striking. Really, really tired out Tim Kennedy with that style and eventually finished him. He likes to give up his back and get up, and is very good at fighting hands, standing back up that way. And against Chris Weidman, he did struggle, to explode that way out of takedowns after the first round. But at first, he was able to do that. And Weidman is a much better wrestler than Jacare. Gastelum does stay extremely calm and composed in the cage, never uses excess energy, and due to that he has great cardio. And he would lose a lot of first rounds early in his career, come back to win, but recently he's been finishing early quite a bit. And this is a potential number one contenders match at 185 pounds, so both guys are definitely going to come in super motivated. Jacare is going to be fighting in front of his home crowd, and probably in what is his final chance to potentially earn a UFC title shot. Jacare is a very strong physical middleweight. He'll slowly walk you down, and doesn't use a lot of footwork or lateral movement, but just try to walk you down, land hard shots, eventually grab a hold of you. Really likes to sit down with his right hook, put a lot of power into it. He'll lunge into that shot to close the distance and get the clinch. Big power, but is a little bit stiff and plodding. Doesn't really throw in combination. He'll throw a front kick to the body, a left hand or a right hook. Not the fastest guy, and that was very evident against Robert Whittaker. And I actually see a lot of things Kelvin Gastelum could do that Robert Whittaker did to defeat Jacare. Whittaker was always moving, using great lateral movement, feint to disguise his combinations, very similar to Gastelum, keeping his hands low, snapping out his jab, tagging Jacare with that jab. He's able to stay calm and composed on his takedown attempt. When Jacare got in the clinch against the cage, and he even stood up exposing his back against the cage in that very exact way that Kelvin Gastelum does. And Jacare was unable to cut off the cage or get in close against Whittaker after that initial takedown attempt, and never even engaged in the grappling on the feet again. He isn't a guy that, is explosive in terms of his grappling on the outside. He has to get on the inside. He's not like someone that's going to be shooting, wrestling, takedowns with a lot of success. He had a good performance last time out, but it was against a Brunson who's a very wild striker, leaves a lot of openings, landed a nice head kick and finished the show. But I think Gastelum's not going to be easy to read here in a fight like Derek Brunson. I think he's going to use great footwork, gets his feints going, not let Jacare get on the inside. I think if Jacare gets on the inside early, I think he's going to be able to stay calm, stand back up. And I'm actually pretty confident in this pick, and I'm going to go with Kelvin Gastelum by TKO in round 3. I think that he's going to be able to get it done here against Jacare. Jacare is 38 years old, very slow. He's one of the slowest middleweights in the division. I think that he's really gotten fat recently over, competition that's just not extremely good. Derek Brunson, Tim Bosch, Vitor Belfort, Chris Camozzi. All those guys are not very high-level guys. And I just think that he's going to get exposed here in terms of just not being the quickest on the feet, and just that guys like Robert Whittaker, guys like Kelvin Gastelum can really exploit that. And on to the main event here, we have Amanda Nunes against Raquel Pennington. And Amanda Nunes is going to be defending her belt for the third time here against Raquel Pennington. Nunes is a big, strong, athletic girl who overwhelms a lot of her opponents with just sheer power and fluidity. Great 1-2 that she really likes to, go to over and over. It's kind of what she used to take out Ronda Rousey. She was able to keep her punches sharp and long. Her jab is stabby and keeps her opponents at the end of her shots. She'll sit down at her right cross, try to put big power in that shot. She'll throw the cross to the body as well. She has solid kicks, but mainly only throws leg kicks. She needs to work on setting up the kicks better as well. She can't be countered off of them. She's solid in the clinch, lands hard knees. She has solid wrestling skills, usually getting a lot of her takedowns in the clinch with body locks and trips. Very strong on top, does a fantastic job of getting posture, landing stunning shots. She can even land hard ground pound from the guard. But she does a great job of getting to half guard and then to mount, raining down shots. Has a pretty nice rear naked choke. She is a black belt jiu-jitsu. She has had cardio problems in the past, but she showed much improved cardio going 5 rounds in her last fight. She did have a very lackluster performance against Shevchenko, so I'm sure she's going to be looking for a much better performance here. And for Raquel Pennington, Pennington's just extremely tough and durable. She's going to be coming back from an extremely devastating leg break, and she hasn't fought in over a year and a half. So, very hard spot here for Pennington, coming to Brazil off a super long layoff, fighting a beast like Amanda Nunes. But she has a good jab, a good right hook. She does a good job of controlling distance, staying just on the outside of your punches. She did a great job against Misha Tate with the jab. She was stopping Misha's forward motion and takedown attempts with it. She'll add some leg and body kicks into her combination. She's landed a nice uppercut against Tate, did a good job of takedown defense as well against the cage. She was still controlled against the cage for a period of times, but she was able to defend takedowns. She will attack the neck with submissions and definitely does a good job of that to defend takedowns. He's very dangerous. Has a lot of submission victories. And, Pennington was able to land some hard shots when she pushed Misha against the fence. And she's extremely tough in games. She'll work and grind on you. And I think as this fight goes on, it definitely will favor Pennington if she can get out of the early rounds. But she's definitely going to need to survive a storm early. She's not nearly the athlete of Nunes. I think they're fight on totally different wavelengths. Nunes is just fighting at a completely different speed, in my opinion. And I think she's going to be a big danger early. And Pennington is someone who's just always in close fights. Loses split decisions to Holly Holm and Jessica Andrade. And, someone that just tries to keep a very deliberate pace on the feet. And I just think that they fight completely different gears here. And I think Nunes is just too powerful, too fast, too athletic. She's going to get the knockout in round 1 here. And I'm going to go with Amanda Nunes to successfully defend her title for the 3rd time. And for my most confident pick of the week, guys, I'm going to go with Markus Perez. I think that he's a very safe bet there. And for my parlay of the week, I would go with Markus Perez and Ramazan Emeev. And if you guys wanted to potentially take a risk, get a underdog parlay going, I would say a pretty solid underdog parlay that you could potentially do could be maybe Amanda Cooper, Cesar Ferreira, and Amanda Cooper, Cesar Ferreira. That might be a pretty decent one. Or you could try to think of some that might be a potentially good upset picks for you guys. I'm thinking Sean Strickland as well could be a potential decent upset pick. So those are a few picks I'm having for you guys. But for the parlay of the week, I'm going to go with Markus Perez and Ramazan Emeev. I think that both those guys have a pretty clear path to victory. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Subscribe for more. I'm going to be dropping a Bellator prediction video either Wednesday or Thursday. And I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.